Thank you very much for joining us for another exciting edition of The Lunch Cafe on Camnet TV. My name is Marco Kwakos. This is a program that comes to you every day at lunchtime, and we air from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So this is the Thursday edition of the Lunchtime Cafe. I'm alone in the studio today. Don't worry, Nelly will be back next week Monday, and she will be joining us on the program. Let's get into it. The first segment is that which we call the emerging stories. In this particular segment, we are going to be giving you stories that are happening right now, stories that we expect to make the cut in the 1930 evening news, and these are the stories that our reporters are currently working on. They are just giving us some tidbits of what we do expect to watch this evening in our menu. So those are the stories that we are going to be looking at in our first segment. And remember that we are live on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and channel 106 on Top Star. We are also live on our Facebook page, which is Camnet TV. So you can go to that particular page, like it and share it, and then go to the comment section of this particular broadcast and leave your comments and contributions there. We'll be more than happy to see what you think about what we are looking at today. Today is a big day as regards the UPND, because they are celebrating 2 years in office. So we are going to be discussing something in line with that later on the program when we invite in our guest. Let's quickly get into the emerging stories segment, but before we get into our first story, let's take a short break. Thank you very much for staying with us. This is the Emerging Stories segment on the Lunchtime Cafe on Camnet TV. And let's get to see the first story. It comes from Sikongo, where the Member of Parliament Mayungo Simushi has expressed optimism that the Kalabo-Sikongo Road will soon be worked on, as it has the potential to economically open up the area. Now, Mr. Simushi tells Camnet News that the road, which also connects his constituency to Angola, will economically transform the area, which is currently one of the poorest areas in the country. He says once worked on, the road will open up the area to the Angolan market, which he says gets most of its products like chicken and eggs from Portugal and Brazil, which are readily available in his constituency. Now, Mr. Simushi says this will also create an opportunity for the country to start getting crude oil from the neighboring Angola.
And I know for sure that the Congo-Kalabo Road, which is the Cinderella project for that constituency, is also going to be looked into because of the huge market that this country is going to have through the connection with Angola. But also the oil. We are getting oil from the Middle East and the faraway places. But we're next door to Congo constituency, is Angola, where there is oil. So this government has taken advantage of that situation in Angola, which is just next door to us. And we saw how the president has made trips. He has gone there. His ministers have also gone there to just make sure that that potential is harnessed. And how do we harness that? We need to have well connectivity in terms of the road infrastructure. Now we're even talking about the rail line, which is going to pass through Northwestern to join our line of rail here in Zambia, so that we're able to get those commodities. We also have access to markets. Our colleagues in Angola buy almost everything from Brazil and Portugal, very far away lands. Meanwhile, those things that they are buying from there, the eggs, the chickens, we're able to produce them from here. So this government wants to take advantage of that situation, and that is why I know this Congo Kalavo Road is going to be worked on. We've been talking to the Minister of Infrastructure, the Minister of Finance, and the assurances have been given to say, yes, that's a number one, it's one of the key priority projects that this government is going to embark on.
Thank you very much. So that is the Sikongo Member of Parliament who is talking about the Kalabo Sikongo Road, which he thinks will open up the area economically if it is worked on, and he is optimistic that that road will be worked on as soon as possible. So that's one of the stories that we expect to see this evening. Now moving on, the next story says the Food Reserve Agency FRA has urged millers countrywide to buy adequate stocks of maize during this year's ongoing crop marketing season in order to sustain their business operations and reduce their dependency on FRA. Now, FRA Public Relations Coordinator John Chipandwe says the agency has observed that despite the ongoing crop marketing season, the stable supply of maize on the market, some millers have continued making maize purchase applications from the agency. Now, Mr. Chipandwe says the agency is no longer selling maize and further urged them to buy the commodity directly from the farmers or from the open market while the commodity is still available.
The Food Reserve Agency, FRA, is urging millers countrywide to buy adequate stocks of maize during this year's ongoing crop marketing season in order to sustain their business operations and reduce their dependence on FRA. The agency has observed that despite the ongoing crop marketing season and the stable supply of maize on the local market, some millers have continued making maize purchase applications to the agency. In this regard, the agency wishes to notify millers that it is no longer selling maize and further wishes to urge all millers to buy the commodity directly from farmers or from the open market while the commodity is still available. The crop marketing season is currently in progress, and the agency is aware that players in the milling sector are buying maize from the local market. As a result, the agency does not expect millers to be making maize purchase applications. Millers are therefore urged to continue buying maize from the open market from farmers that have harvested the commodity and are offering it for sale. Further, the agency wishes to remind millers that they are a key stakeholder that play a critical role in sustaining national food security and should therefore always buy adequate maize stocks to sustain their business operations instead of depending on national strategic food reserves.
Thank you very much. So that is about the Food Reserve Agency and the purchase of maize from the agency, urging millers to ensure that they get their maize from the open market. Now, moving on, the United Party for National Development, UPND, Namwala Member of Parliament, Mono Mapani, says UPND alliance partners should not demand for ministerial positions from the President Hakainde Hichilema. Now, his comments follows All People's Congress Party President Nason Musoni, who recently stated that he regretted supporting President Hichilema and the UPND in the run-up to the August 12, 2021 general election, which he said is now haunting him. But Mr. Mapani says it is a shame for some opposition leaders who are in the alliance with the UPND to start demanding positions, especially since they joined the alliance a few weeks before the 2021 general elections.
He expected to be given a ministerial position under PF, under UPND. It's us who worked for this party. It's us who lived with UPND in darkness and in light. If a person like me who went through all those things is not even expecting anything because the people the president has appointed have the capacity to help him deliver. Who is these opposition leaders to actually expect to be given ministerial positions? 2 days, 2 weeks before elections, you jump in the track that we nursed for 23 years, and you just come want to get with your capacity, with your corruption in your hand, and you want to take the leadership. It's us who are supposed to complain if there was a need to complain. That why has the president left me? Why hasn't the president appointed me? First of all, why should I be appointed and why should it be me when UPND is full of capable people? And if me, I'm not complaining because I'm seeing that the team the president is moving with is a capable team. The team the president has actually assembled is the team that will help us come out of this mess with the patriotic front left. And then a man without shame can even say, no, I apologize. Yes, you should apologize first of all, you're a wrong person because you don't qualify to be part of UPND. You don't qualify because you came in or you went in to help with ill money because you only went there to be given a position.
Moving on, the next story says Zambia's ambassador to the United States of America, Chibamba Kanyama, has urged Zambians living in the US to be prepared about their return to Zambia. Now, Mr. Kanyama said this during the second annual gala night for the Association of Zambians in the Diaspora of Washington, Maryland, and Virginia. He urged Zambians to prepare adequately about their return to Zambia in order for them to receive adequate support from government. Now, speaking at the same event, entrepreneur Anton Tanka, Chief Executive Officer of Nostalgia Solutions, urged Zambians in the diaspora to work together so as to deliver development back home.
And you appreciate certain things you find in other cultures and adopt them and apply them and see how we can apply them back home. In fact, I'm very excited to notice that this evening we have other cultures present. I noticed that we have got different cultures on this table and the other table. This means a lot. It means that from among us there have been very good ambassadors who represented this country so well that others agreed to come and join us for this gala. This means a lot. So let us represent the country well. In fact, it means so much, particularly for the professionals. Those of you whose visas get renewed every year, not 3 years or longer.
Thank you very much. So that is about the emerging stories today. Those are the stories that we expect to see in our menus at 19:30 this evening. So we do expect you to keep it on Camnet TV, channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and channel 106 on Topstar. You can also catch us live on our Facebook page, which is Camnet TV. So those are some of the stories that we expect on that particular bulletin. Now, moving on, let's take you back in time. On this day in 2021, the 7th Republican President Hakainde Hichilema was sworn in after becoming victorious in the 2021 general elections at Heroes Stadium. Now, let's take you back to just look at how this day went at that particular venue in Lusaka.
failing 5 times to ascend to the highest political office of the land, Zambia's Republican President Hakainde Hichilema has finally been sworn in as the country's 7th Republican president, together with his running mate Madam Mutalena Lumango, at a colorful ceremony held in Lusaka attended by over 50,000 people. Accompanied by his wife Mutinta Hichilema, the joy of the many who came to witness the event could be felt whenever the president was shown on any platform. And speaking shortly after being sworn in by Acting Chief Justice Michael Musonda, President Hichilema has promised to restore the rule of law, general order in public places and communities, and return the country back to normalcy.
We will promote unity in diversity and ensure respect for fundamental human rights, liberties, and indeed freedoms for all our people. We will restore the rule of law, general order in our public places and communities, and return our country back to normalcy. Read my lips, no capitalism from any political party. We will live up to our campaign promises by ensuring that all citizens are equal before the law. All citizens are equal before the law, without exception. Absolutely none anything close to animal farm.
The head of state has also assured jobless youths that a new dawn has come where youths will be skilled and find opportunities to work or do business in an economy that his government will revive.
This victory is not mine, but for all the citizens of our great country, especially the youth who turned out to vote in great numbers with great energy. I shall repeat that. This victory is not mine, but it is for all you, the citizens of our great country, especially the youth of Zambia, who turned out to vote in great numbers with great energy and passion and made this day possible. To the jobless youth, a new dawn is here, where you will be skilled and you will find opportunity to work or do business in an economy that will be revived vigorously very soon ahead of us. Barry and the team will fix our economy, but we will do more than just fixing the economy.
And the president has paid special attention to lowering the fiscal deficit, reducing public debt, and restoring social and market confidence.
We shall have zero tolerance to corruption. Shall I repeat that? We shall have zero tolerance to corruption. This will be our hallmark. The fight against corruption will be professional. It will not be vindictive. We will not be going out there for retribution or vengeance. That is not for us.
The president also took time to highlight some of the key priority areas his administration will pay attention to.
Some of our key priority sectors that will drive economic growth and reduce poverty are agriculture, mining, energy, financial services, tourism, technology, health, and education. In agriculture, we will work to enhance production, agricultural extension services, market access, value addition, and lowering the cost of inputs, the cost of production, that area very well. We shall promote expansion on the mining value chain as well as the promotion of mineral diversification. We will therefore encourage the production and processing of gemstones, gold, nickel, manganese, iron and industrial and other minerals. We will put in place measures to facilitate local ownership. You have heard me. You have heard me. We will put in place measures to facilitate local ownership and increase participation of Zambians in this important sector.
President Hichilema also took time to thank the opposition political parties that took part in the election, the church and traditional leaders for the role they play in the Zambian economy. He has also invited all political parties to work with his government within the remits of a democratic society. And President Hichilema thanked the former head of state, Mr. Edgar Lungu, for his service to the nation and facilitating a smooth transition. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News. 10 heads of state from different African countries were among the over 50,000 people who came to witness the inauguration ceremony of Zambia's 7th Republican President Hakainde Hichilema. Among those in attendance were heads of state from Kenya, Namibia, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Botswana, Democratic Republic of Congo, Malawi, United Republic of Tanzania, and the Kingdom of Eswatini. And speaking when he represented other African heads of state, Malawian President Lazarus Chakwera says Zambia has demonstrated the true meaning of democracy through the smooth transition of power.
What a day to be standing shoulder to shoulder with the Zambian people who have distinguished themselves as a bastion of democracy and a beacon of constitutionalism. Make no mistake, what we are witnessing today is more than an inauguration. What we are witnessing today here is no mere ceremony or ritual. Rather, it is history.
And former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo says it is possible for African countries to have a smooth transition of power without having to shed blood, and that Zambia has demonstrated this.
I bring you our congratulations, and we are here to felicitate with you as leaders of this great country for the example you have shown to the rest of Africa and indeed the rest of the world that do things.
Your strong commitment to democracy is a clear manifestation of your participation in the liberalization and development of Southern Africa. This has been the case for many decades, and in the face of historical challenges, such as the struggle against apartheid and colonization. This can only confirm your commendable contribution to the common goal of regional integration through, in particular, the achievement of the African Union's Agenda 2060.
The overwhelming representation of different heads of state is proof of the confidence other African countries have in Zambia and its respect for the rule of law. Work for the President Hakainde Hichilema has officially begun, and the Zambian people are so expectant to see change. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Zambians stand up in numbers to witness the inauguration of the 7th Republican President Hakainde Hichilema, a day full of excitement for many and regret for others. But the comfort is that under the new government, it is one Zambia, one nation. Not everyone could make it to Hero Stadium. Some people converged as early as 06 hours to await the arrival of the presidential motorcade along the Great North Road leading to Hero Stadium, the venue for the event of the year. Activists say Hakainde Hichilema is likely to become a popular president Zambia has never had for choosing to be on the side of the people. He made popular pronouncements which people have been longing for, such as the freedom of expression, association and assembly, as well as curbing the infiltration of political cadres in markets and bus stations and governance structures.
Gone are the days when political cadres would take over the functions of a public service worker in a market, in a bus stop, in a government office and other places. Absolutely never again. Never again. Our administration will not allow such disorder, because you cannot grow the economy, you cannot create jobs, you cannot offer business opportunities in a disorderly manner.
And it is what excited many citizens.
Yes, picture so kuti vasavareke chape vangena sekovena ngukukanso zikuna drainage zanzijendrama zizamboenda zakanso zanonzotenga revi ngezanowazvaforesa.
One only hopes cadarism will not resurface in another way.
Sir, these cadres are bothering me. These cadres. Where's your chief cadre? Get out. Get out.
For Mr. Hichilema, work has begun, and for the media, civil society organizations, and opposition political parties, among others, checks and balances are underway. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Thank you very much. You are still watching the Camnet Lunch Cafe, and we were just taking you back into memory just to remind you of this particular day in 2021 when the inauguration of the 7th Republican President Hakainde Hichilema was held at Hero Stadium here in Lusaka. Now, moving on, we are now on a segment we call the main interview segment, and we are privileged this afternoon. We do have a political activist, Dante Saunders, just to help us look at the 2 years of the UPND being in office. Sir, thank you very much for making it to Camnet. Welcome to this interview.
Thank you very much for inviting me to your program, and may I say a very, very good morning to or afternoon to your viewers and listeners. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Dan. And now let's get straight into it. The UPND has been in office for the past 2 years. How would you rate their performance?
Well, firstly, I want to say that I rate them very highly because I've come from the experience, as I'm sure you know, from day one of our independence, seeing many governments take over and move on. So comparing them to most of the other people that we have seen in the past, I see that this government is making big and heavy moves in order to improve the welfare and the well-being of our people in Zambia. You mustn't forget, whereas we all have the right to speak out and speak our minds, I think it is very important to understand where we are coming from. We're coming from a background where we've never had a system in place in Zambia, never had a system. And this president is working on the system and the basis that, firstly, number one, we need to build ourselves a foundation, a very strong foundation. We should have had this foundation from day one, but we never ever had it. Now, this foundation simply means that today you have a democratic country, tomorrow you have this other political party that might come in, and this other one will come in. Everybody will come in and have an agenda of how best to rule this country. But without that particular foundation, all the houses that we have around or that will come up thereafter will just crumble and fall. And that's what we have actually seen, me, myself, as Dante Saunders. So this president is making all efforts to build that foundation, a strong foundation, so that never, ever in the history of this country should we ever allow ourselves to go back into a situation where we become almost a failed state. Because he took over a broken down system, a broken down government. This is what he inherited, a broken down government, that was it. And had the PF continued to rig the election in some areas and win the election, today Zambia would have been declared a failed state. And, I say that very strongly because you can see just how many people have left ordinary corruption, ordinary stealing, and turned it into big-time plunder of the wealth of this nation. It's now plunder. It's now a situation where we are today because of our rules and regulations, which we allowed political parties to tamper with. And the people have been very silent in the past. Too silent. What I would like to see now is that the willingness of this government is very keen to see a new constitution, a constitution that can make it so that no matter how you may be in politics, how high you may go, the president, whatever the case may be, you should not be allowed to break the rules. So many issues come onto that particular issue. I will be in for the side, for instance, where there's a difference between stealing my ball pen and stealing my cell phone, whatever the case is. We call that, simply theft. But my brother, when you start looking at plunder, imagine how many millions of people suffer as a consequences of that particular plunder. Mm-hmm. But however, this government must not just only look at where we are coming from and how best we should think. We should also be planning ahead. You can't be spending all your time running after these people. So how did this particular government deal with it? They dealt with it by just reinforcing the law, rule of law in this country, where nobody is above the law. That's why we are seeing so many people in the corridors of shall I say, the courts of law in our country today. They're in the corridors, they're going to defend themselves. I'm not saying they were guilty. I'm not privileged to say they are guilty or not guilty, whatever the case is, but they are there. And while they are there being questioned, can you believe it, they have the audacity to turn around and tell you that they are being victimized. Come on, please, let's be real. You are there in the courts because of what they perceive you could have done. So it's up to you to prove you are innocent. They won't take Dante Saunders there because I did nothing wrong. Mm-hmm. But however, the fact that you have something there is something to the courts of law. And I think I've seen this government do a lot, really, with regards to rehabilitating, if you want to call it, the police, ACC, DEC. I'm proud of these people today. For the first time, Mr. Moderator, for the first time in the history of my history, witnessing colonial system up to this particular point in time, for the first time in my life, I see a government determined to try to bring this country into a right country. On many occasions, I should say, Mr. Moderator, I work with a lot of political parties. We put them into government. When we put them into government, they just go to sleep. But on this particular one, realizing, taking my age into consideration and so on, I thought that my contribution to this country must be the last. And on many occasions, I actually said to the president like this, like how we are sitting together, do you really believe that there's still hope in this country? And the HS used to tell me, Dante, we can still do it. It will take time, but we can do it. We have no other alternative but to do it for the sake of our country. Mm-hmm. And because of his kind words and the issues and his determination, that is why I personally will do anything I can to assist this government move forward. Because by them moving forward, it means that the entire nation is going to move forward.
We have had, I'm glad that you touched it, people that say that this government is, the fight against corruption is vindictive.
Honestly, can you really believe that? If you look at the kind of people that are currently in court, can you say it's vindictive? Mm-hmm. It would have been vindictive. I can call it vindictive if me, as Dante Saunders, knowing that I've been clean, am pointed out by this government to say Dante Saunders stole this and he stole this or something of the sort. Then I know, knowing that I didn't do it, that would be vindictiveness. Can you imagine how many, if those people saying it's vindictive, those same people, just look at them. They're in the corridors of our courts of law. They're in the corridors of the police being questioned every day. And you call that vindictiveness? They're forgetting. Just yesterday, they were in power. They are forgetting that. How many times didn't this government or the former government have all the people who've divergent views from them? How many times were they not beaten up? Churches were closed. You know it. You know it. The issues that HH went through, it's unreal. And not only HH, a lot of party cadres, a lot of people on the ground went into jail for absolutely nothing. If this government had won, this last, the previous government, if they had won, HH today, I can assure you, would have never been alive. They would have found a way to write him off completely. And they would have gotten away with it. They would have gotten away with it. They would have got rid of all those people who were standing in the way of them interfering with the economy of this country. So that is one part of the history. You know, I want to put it aside. I want to be on the side of the people who are looking at the future of this country. And yes, you may say the cost of living is gone up. Yes, it's easy to say that. I agree. Yes, the cost of meal is very high. And people are finding it difficult to be able to issue. But this government, I can say, didn't just put the price of meal up and just left it like that.
But at least that was the campaign message, to say they'll ensure that the cost of meal comes down, the cost of living also comes down.
Precisely. This is what I'm saying now, without that particular foundation that I was talking about. But let's look at the price of meal. Let's look at the issue. Let's put the price of meal aside. How are we moving forward to cushion the impact of the high cost of living in this country? What are we doing? Or what is the government doing? We see HH, number one, has given free education to all. We're not paying for that. He has given free health to all. No one is paying for that. He has provided employment to over nearly 1 million people. And nearly 1 million people have been employed. That was never brought in before in the history of this country. Look at the CDF funds that they have pushed into every constituency. 30 million. I'm not saying everything is working well. This is a new issue that is brought up. Obviously, there is a little bit of problems here and there. We see a little bit of where people are trying to siphon money out here and siphon, or people trying to, you know, to just politicize these particular issues. But look at the constituency development funds. Every constituency that we have in this country has almost 30 million. Employment will be there. There are manufacturers or builders, and you know, all these things will be there, put there in that constituency. They are not being controlled from Lusaka. Imagine how much development can take place if all systems are working right. These are the kind of things that this government has taken to cushion the impact of meal. Now, if you look at the meal alone, one cannot say that let's reduce it to 100 kwacha. What about the farmers? Your father, your brother who's in the farm. He makes a living from growing maize, growing tobacco, growing whatever the issue may be. He makes a living. You can't tell him, feed me, and you don't want to bother about his welfare. You got to give these farmers a fair price. I've been listening to people saying, you know, the only positive issue came from somebody who is an activist like myself, came up, and I think one statement where he said that this government should consider, you know, bringing in a way, you know, to reduce the cost of fuel and that kind of thing. Now, that's a brilliant idea. That's a brilliant idea. Coming from an ordinary activist, You never heard any of these political parties that are talking so much today and, you know, rubbishing everything this government is doing. You don't hear them talking about issues like that. There will be differences. I mean, the way you run your studio here and the way, you know, you run it and the way I look at it could be different issues here altogether. I may say, no, do this here. And you will say, no, you can't do that because of A, B, C, D, or vice versa. But at least there's movement, there's discussion. If you've got an idea, don't just stand there and criticize. For heaven's sake, put your suggestions forward. Let us debate on these particular issues. I want to see a very, very strong, you know, constitution in this country. You know yourself. I've been fighting for this for many, many, many years from the national constitutional days, when I've been saying that our constitution, one, we should look at this, what do you call, presidential powers. You know, I wanted all those things cut. Even this issue to say that, you know, the president has immunity. I'm against that. The president's immunity should finish the day he walks out of State House. Immunity, yes, while he's there. But the day he walks out of State House, immunity must be lifted. How many times are we going to see presidents answering to corruption? And please, this, you know, if you don't answer to these issues of corruption, it doesn't bring closure. And the people of this country, we want closure. I can safely say to you today, here, Mr. Moderator, today, that if all these monies that this country and the poor people have lost because of the plunder of this wealth of this nation, if those people brought back our money and put it on the table, and we shared that money between 20 million Zambian people, we would be able to feed ourselves maybe for the next 5 years using that money. And that money is being divided maybe by about 20 people, holding and 20 million people to ransom. Come on, that's not fair. And I will continue to fight on these particular issues. I want to see justice. I want our money returned. But of course, I'm just a voice.
You did state earlier that as a country we should learn to move on.
Yes.
And not keep on chasing people.
Correct.
Why do you now feel that we need to get the monies? Is that not what you referred to as moving on?
No, but the money, no. I'm saying we are not going to be chasing people with different political ideas.
Oh, okay.
But if you have got a case, you must answer that case. Don't say, hide behind the party to say, no, I'm being persecuted because I am so-and-so in the party. No. You are being persecuted because of what you have done wrong or what we think you done wrong. If I accuse you of stealing my car, you, Mr. Moderator, now, right now, if I say that you stole my car, you know, you have the right to be able to answer the issue, to say, no, I didn't steal your car. And if you didn't steal my car, you have a right to sue me. You have a right to sue me. So that is law and order. You know, you mustn't mix the two, because this is where the biggest problem is coming from. We seem to be hiding behind the party to say, you know, I'm vice president, I'm president of this party, and you know, they want to victimize me. Come on, you're not being victimized because you belong to that party. You are being brought in to explain certain issues to the state. That's all. It ends there. If you are innocent, the courts will prove it. You are innocent, you will go.
You did mention about the amendments that you'd love to see to the Constitution. Yes. You mentioned you wouldn't want to see President walking out of State House with immunity.
Correct.
What other amendments would you love to see?
Well, you know, for instance, when we do a constitution, you know, let me take you back. Mm-hmm. You know, perhaps you might not be able to look back that far because, you know, I'm coming from there. If I look back to my fellow brothers and sisters, who's probably your grandfather today and whatever, when I look back at our times, you know, how did we have law and order in our villages? How? There were no police stations there. We were able to look after ourselves. When somebody stole something, he never had a bright, big lawyer, you know, coming with heaps of books and stuff like that. It was a simple question. We found these feathers there by that place and everything, fingers are pointing at you. You are the one who ate the chicken. The chicken belongs to this one here next door. Anything to say? And you would say, yes, I did it. Okay, you did it. Our chief or our headman would just say, okay, now that you've admitted that day, can you either give that person a chicken, one from your own side, and if you can't, you are going to lima for him for maybe 1 month or 2 months. It was done. There was no constitution there. Mm-hmm. But when we took over our independence, we decided that, hey, now we need to have a constitution. And we need to have one for the people. But some people, day one of that constitution was being intercepted to say if you give the people so much power, you're going to fail to rule the country. From day one, I'm coming from there, and I know what I'm talking about. And anybody who's my age will tell you that that is exactly what happened, and that's where we lost it. Now, what would I like to see? I want to see immunity removed. Day one, when the president leaves office. Mm-hmm. Number two, the issue that I want to see also, our law, our corruption laws and stuff like that, they must not be left to those people with a ball pens and big diplomas from here to the other end of the world, you know, how great they are. We want the law part of it, also contribution. Let us look at other countries' constitutions. Let us look, for instance, at the Sharia law. Let's look at the Sharia law. Why is it that in Arabia I can leave my money here and take this watch of mine, put it down here, go to the toilet, maybe even come back an hour later after I have lunch, and I come back, I find the watch here and the ball pen. Why? Why is it not the same here in Zambia? That is because the Sharia law is not full with just thieves. The moment you touch that pen and this watch of mine here on the table, somebody points a finger, this is this one, we'll see you again tomorrow, yes, but you will have no hand. Boom, your hand is gone. You are not spending taxpayers' money in jail. So there are lots of these issues that we need to look at. You know, I will be pushing for parts of our constitution to carry Sharia law also. Not just look at what the white people want to talk about in London, in Sweden, in America, or in Germany. I also want to see how other people's constitutions are. This constitution must make sense, not only to lawyers, but must make sense to the people on the ground, more so to us. Mm-hmm. Because we feel the impact. You steal my ball pen today, and this phone of mine, that the small little, you steal it, my brother, steal it, you'll see. I report you to the police. 2 days later, you are in jail. But somebody that's got a lot of money, millions and millions, I don't know how he got it, but he's got it. He hires a lawyer. My friend, your phone that was stolen from you, you'll be even made to reimburse that chap that's got money, because the lawyers will tangle you in court, whatever the case is, and they get away free.
Some sectors of society, however, are saying that the democratic space is shrinking under the UPND.
Boss, it's shrinking only to a few individuals. You see, if you are looking at a political party, the development of a political party, mm-hmm. you know, if you start a political party, again another area which I'm sure you allude to, that I know exactly what I'm talking about. A political party is formed from the grassroots going up. If you think that you are big because you are every day in the newspaper, you are big because you are on the TV stations, you are big because you are radio stations, you are wasting your time. Because people on the ground can see exactly what you are doing. In short, to us who are on the ground, all of these people who are talking like this, they are nothing. Because power is people. It's not money. It's not how Dante Saunders looks, or how you look, very handsome boy with a nice suit, and ball pens, what are shining. It's not how you look. It's how many people you are having on the ground. That's how you determine a political party is worthy of talking. Otherwise, you continue, and I mean, you've seen it. History, you have seen it in your lifetime, where some people talk as if they are very big. They make threats to the governments as if they are big. They are nothing. You are threatening government and you are really nothing. Come on, please. Let's be serious in our country. We want to move forward. A lot of us want to move forward because we are tired of being stagnant. We are tired of being poor. We are tired of having no opportunities because everybody wants to take the little that the poor people have. It's time now to give this government full support. Let them do what they are doing. So far, to me, I would say I give them a good 85, even 90% that they've done well. The other areas that we have not done well, it's not because they couldn't do it. It's because of frustration from people like you and people like me, who are with our ties and bow ties. We continue to misguide or sabotage government's efforts in order for them to be able to deliver 100%. It's you and me to blame, because even now, today, as we are talking, there is a lot of civil servants who are not loyal to the development of this country. I'm not saying loyal to the party. I'm saying they are not loyal to see that this country develops. So there are hindrances here, there are hindrances here. My brother, it makes people like me, and many other people get extremely annoyed when I see a young person like you, who I know the background, your mother, father, they suffered tremendously to send you to school, to be who you are. And today, because you are there, sitting on your chair with your tie and everything, you forget where you are coming from. We should be seen to be fighting for your mothers and fathers, and for your other brothers and sisters who have never had the opportunity. This government is providing all kinds of opportunities. Small scale, we didn't even mention that small scale loans and stuff like that to the business community. They've leaned over backwards too much.
That thought comes from the background of the arrest, for example, of the Socialist Party leader, the blocking of the opposition PF members from visiting incarcerated Zumani Zimba in prison, and of course various other arrests of opposition political parties. That is why they feel that the democratic space is shrinking.
No, I differ very much, and I hate to do that to Fred Membe, is a good friend of mine. I think I admire him for his struggles. I admire him for his fight and his zeal. I admire him because of all the other political parties that we've seen on the ground, and I'm not prepared to mention them. But I think these are all talkers and talkers and talkers, and those are the kind of people that like to share the space here, shout at Dante, shout at HH. I think they're making headlines. They're not. But Fred Membe is on the ground, he's moving there, here and there. We've come from a party that has Fred Membe's President Fred Member's ideas. We've come from there. I've come from there, from that area. We had UNIP. We had Tanzania. We had Malawi. We are currently seeing places like, I won't mention these other countries, but you know, we had countries that were run under the sort of that kind of a system that Fred Member is talking about. We went through it. And I'll keep my observation to myself. Would I support it? Personally, I don't believe I would. I don't believe I would, because when we made up our mind in Zambia that we were going to be democratic, we meant just that. And we may have had a lot of our problems from the one-party rule up to this particular point in time. We may have had a lot of blunders. Yes, I admit it. Democracy, you know, it's funny when you look at the kind of democracy a white man has, and you want to push the black person to enjoy those kind of democracies, which a lot of issues I don't agree with. For instance, I want to see, you know, our culture maintained all the time. You know, and you know, we have a lot of differences, but I don't think that, you know, it's fair really to say, you know, that the people will never go back to a one-party state or to a one-party idea or the ideas of the Fred Members group. But however, he's putting his case to people. I like that. You know, for me, he's doing the right thing. But if you are going to be challenging the government as you're doing it, then I think you are walking a very tightrope between, you know, disrespect for the government of the day. Because when we put a person in government, if we put you in government, we are putting all our support to you. And when somebody doesn't respect you, you know, it annoys the people who elected you into office. It's like a slap in the face. So I expect not only the one party, but all the people within our country. We should remember that democracy is here to stay. And no matter who comes into power, we must give these people our outright respect. Provided as well that those people who are in State House equally respects the people who put them into power.
You are watching the Lunchtime Cafe on Camnet TV, and if you want to join in this conversation, you can go to our Facebook page, which is Camnet TV, and go to the comment section of this particular broadcast and leave your questions and contributions there. We'll be more than happy to see what you think and what your questions are. If you want to call us, you can call us. The numbers are on your screens. You can call those particular numbers and we'll be more than happy to hear from you. Moving on, Uncle Dante, we did see the former Republican president being harassed last week when he went to attend that traditional ceremony, and we did also see Mr. Chitambala at Simoson building claiming that he was being attacked by UPND cadres. And yesterday, the National Youth Chairperson, Gilbert Liswaniso, confirmed that indeed those were UPND members, and he was not in support of that. Are we seeing cadreism coming back? The UPND had said that they will make sure that they stamp out this particular vice. Are we seeing it coming back?
Cadreism will never come back again to Zambia. I think that the people are fed up. Everyone is fed up with it. But of course, you know, and I'm glad that UPND has taken steps to warn their own members of this particular issues that is happening. It's really sad. I think it shouldn't happen. And I think not on the, you know, it's something that we never fought for. However, it's there. It's, you know, one or two people do make sometimes shall I say, errors, or, where they think they can just go out on demonstrations. Mm-hmm. But coming from where we were, the background to where we were when we took over and stuff like that, we mustn't also overlook the fact that sometimes, and I've seen this personally, sometimes you're walking around the place yesterday, you can see somebody wearing a UPND shirt, but he's not a UPND person. So you can't tell that person, no, take off that shirt, you are not UPND. No, you can't. So some people could be also committing crimes wearing the regalia of the party. So one is left with the option, what do the people think we should do? Again, the people must guide us. Mm-hmm. Perhaps we should ban all regalias after elections. Maybe that way, we might be able to do or to control the situation. But however, I think with the majority of the people agreeing that they don't want A, B, C, D, I think that is good enough, because the people don't want to ever go back to the rule of issue where party cadres could go to a police station and throw out those police people who are supposed to be there to protect the people. Throw them out, push them out, beat them up in police stations. Come on, boss. Those days, we don't want to ever see come back again. Where people can go to people's offices and move them out. Come on.
I hope you keep that a thought. We do have a caller on the line. Hello, good afternoon. Hello? Okay, we seem to have lost that particular caller, but I have a message here from Abelito Lungu, who is saying, you're not a good man. What is wrong is wrong. You used to condemn the PF government when anything goes wrong. You have to condemn this government as well when it's wrong. The question is there anywhere where you feel that the UPND has not done what is supposed to be done? Is there anywhere you would say they are wrong by doing this?
I challenge that person. Look, I say there are challenges in this government. There's challenges, yes. Whatever I've said about, don't forget, those people who are saying that PF, I used to condemn them heavily. Do you know that you know very well that I was with President Michael Satta's consultant, Chris Napapata. I was with him all the way. I know what President Michael Satta wanted and what he obtained and so on and so on. If you go to the High Court, you check when we signed in, the issue on the presidential issue, you'll find that Dante Saunders was signature number 1. Not number 2 or 3 or 4. No, I'm number 1. But when I saw the government sliding backwards, President Michael Satta and myself called each other on the phone many times. I didn't publicize what, but his people were going wrong.
We do have another caller on the line. Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, afternoon. This is Joshua calling you from Ugarurushi.
Mr. Joshua, please go ahead and give us your question or contribution.
In fact, I'm following the program. The man is talking on the panel. He is 100% right. Katazi are no longer even harassing us for those problems that we are almost everywhere. So I'm going to right now, we are able to move freely. We can do things that let's start to follow law and order. This government is doing, what this government is doing, they are just okay. Let's just leave. We are supporting them. We are supporting this new government on my own.
Thank you.
The man is correct.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a caller there agreeing with you. And I have a message here from Kangu who says, It's great to see a senior and wise man offer guidance to our great nation. Please be encouraged. Thank you very much. You can also send your messages on Facebook. Just go to Camnet TV's page, like it, and then go to this particular broadcast because it is live there, and then leave your comments there. We'll be more than happy to see what you think about what we are discussing. You can also call us live. The numbers are on your screens. Just dial those numbers and you'll be given an opportunity to ask your questions and contributions as regards what we are looking at this very afternoon. Now, coming back, Uncle Dante, we did talk about the cost of living and the price of a mini meal. The cry of the people is, how do we bring down the cost of living?
Well, look, you know, I've just mentioned to you, how does this government, how do they go about cushioning the impact of the high cost of meal? I just pointed out to you all the issues that they brought into thing. You know, if you've got a proposal and a suggestion, please, let's have it. But you see, some people, especially those critics that are criticizing every day, they're not coming out with a solution. They just want to criticize because they want space in your paper, they want space on your TV station, let them have it and everything, blah, 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 blah. The president is not obliged to ask or to discuss with any of those people who are talking about. He didn't discuss this with us. Who are you? Who are you? That the president must come to you and ask you, for, is it okay if I do this here, sir? Who are you? Are you one of his advisors or whatever the case is? So the president must have a free hand. And for me, I tell the president so many times, please, Bwana, don't even waste your time entertaining the idea that you must discuss this with this one. They were here, they were in government yesterday, they failed. The people that don't like me are those people that you yourself showed on your TV stations, sleeping on millions and millions of kwacha, sleeping on it. That was actually mocking us, Zambia. How can so many people disrespect monies in a bag like this here, showing you, come on, please, boss. But let's move on. The president is not obliged, and I will personally take a very dim view of this president of ours. If he has to go to those people who has failed to rule this country, to ask them for advice, do you think I should do this? Come on, we've done so well already. Look at the debt relief that we got. Look at the contracts that we are having today, putting roads in the right places. Gone are the days where you're just going to paint a road with black paint and say it was done. Gone are those days. These days, you have to have your contracts. How many contracts were suspended or revisited? There were many. Yes, I say also that the issue that is worrisome, and I'm not saying that the president must consult me to tell him what to do, or here and there. No, I'm just saying it's worrisome. I'm also concerned that, yes, these mining issues has never been resolved yet, despite the fact that some of the officials have actually placed time limits. And that kind of a thing, you know, is, I think there should be a better communication system within that particular area. I'm not saying that, you know, please consult me. No, who am I?
You're a Zambian.
No, I am Zambian, yes, but if I'm not qualified enough, can the president phone me and ask me, what do you think I should do at Camnet News to make them better? How am I going to make something better at Camnet News? I'll tell you, no, Mr. President, in this area, I'm sorry. But if you want somebody to tell you about it, I'll call you. You see. So, but some people think that the president must go there and go and talk to them because they are activists, they are this. By the way, I'm trying to get all the activists together so that, I'm not saying we should stop talking, but let us see how best we can make our voices heard.
Let's pick another call.
Yes.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Your name and where you are calling us from?
I'm calling from Sorezi, Henry.
Please go ahead, sir, and give us your question or contribution.
My contribution is I'm supporting the man who is Mr. Sunday.
Thank you.
On the issue for planners going to the courts. Hello?
Yes.
Please go ahead, sir, we can hear you.
Yes, I think when someone has been summoned, which means someone has been, there's something wrong which went with that person. They don't visit everyone. If you look at the parliament, there have got a lot of people who were in the previous regime. Not everyone is being taken into the courts of law. Only some, and those people, which means they did something. If you look at women, women are always honest. I think in the next time we should put more women in the parliament. Because men now we have been disappointed. All the plunder issues is winning the men, but the women not even one. If you people are complaining that they are being taken into the court, what of the women who were in the parliament? Have they been taken one? I think Mr. Fondashi is right. What he's saying there, he knows what he's talking about over the issues of the economy of Zambia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your contribution. This, would you want to react to that? But
I think he agrees. While he agrees, other people have the right to disagree.
But he has brought a point that I would love you to talk about. Yes. The issue of women.
Yes.
It's the political parties that give us candidates, and most of the times, people on the ground will feel that there have been some candidates are being imposed on them, and for us to have as many women in parliament as he would wish, we highly depend on political parties to give us candidates that are female.
That issue again, it's a collective discussion. It's an issue that is a thorn to society as a whole. Because you see, for instance, if you tell a political party, I want you to give me 20 women, the issue here is power is people. I'm going back to the word power is people. I mean, I can't take you to Mandevu and say to the people in Mandevu that this is the one I want as my. No men are allowed to participate in this election. Only women. You're going to lose the elections. So it's a question of identification and how do we work with women. Just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you must be the automatic boss, or vice versa. Just because you are the man, you must be the automatic choice. I think it needs a lot of consultations. It's a new idea that has been infringed on the people of this country. During my time, women were not allowed even to work, you see. But here we are moving on with the time. And it's a question of more discussions that we have to have. We have to find a way that these women can be brought in, and made to understand that this is it's one world today.
One issue that was said to be hindering women from participating in politics was the issue of political violence. At the pace we are moving at now as regards political violence and cadreism, do you feel that we are expecting to see more women participate in politics come 2026?
Well, I want to see women, let me tell you the type of women that can make men jump around as well. You had Princess Nakatindi, you remember?
Sure.
When she stood, she was a long-time member of MP of Kanyama. Which men went to try to dethrone her there? She fought tooth and nail. You look at the likes of Sylvia Masebo. There's another woman that also fights tooth and nail, I mean, she's ready to take on the men, in their own game. But there are also a lot of women who also have brought shame on some of the women that who were basically given titles, given opportunities, And these women brought shame to us, a lot of them. I don't want to go through and mention this one, this one. No, look, we are in a process now of giving space to everyone. Everyone is equal. You know, can you imagine telling my father those days that he's equal to my mother? He would beat me up badly. He said, no, I'm not equal to your mother. Your mother must bow down to me. When I come from work, I wanted to see her bring the water to my feet, to wash my feet and tell me. She must have my food ready. That's what my father's time. And me, I'm now saying, I'm equal, my wife is equal to me. You know, I actually help my wife cooking and stuff like that in my home, but I'm me, and you know, look, these are all issues, it's new to us, but I'd rather have these new issues, which is going to bring about development. Those issues are what we should be concentrating on politically, not worrying about who is being in the High Court, who is being locked up, who has got helicopters. Come on, brother, let's start moving on, man.
What should the people of Zambia expect from this government in the last 3 years? In the next 3 years, sorry.
Well, I think the foundation should be made. The foundation is definitely going to be made. This government will be proud to say, I brought you from there to here. Now, you make a choice. You want to put somebody who you don't know? Bring them in. Bring them in. And you know, if they win, they win. But one thing I can assure you that, you know, this government will accept. I will accept whoever is brought in, if it's the wishes of the people. The other big thing that we've moved away is this business of, what do you call it, stealing of votes. That is out now. You know, all those loopholes have been sealed. No one can say that the votes were tampered with. So the next government that comes in will, you know, be coming on with a good slate. A cleaned up system. It's up to him or her to make this country tick.
Do you feel that we have the opposition to give the correct checks and balances to the current government?
No, no, not at all. Sadly, I must say no. You know, if I look at PF, a lot of PF people, I hope they're listening to me now. A lot of PF people are coming to me. And those boys that we started off with SATA, they're coming to me, Dante, please try to help us. Help this party come up. How can you help the party come up, please, boss, with this current crop of leadership that you have? So, you know, what advice can I give them? But with the kind of people that I'm seeing now, I think maybe one or two parties, maybe, you know, there's a little bit of hope. But again, without people, you are nothing.
As we come to the end of this interview, what are your concluding remarks?
Well, I want to say, firstly, I want to thank Camnet News, and I want to thank a lot of other people such as yourselves who are busy advocating and making our voices heard. And I say to the people of Zambia that, look, you are expecting miracles. Take my advice that I'm coming from colonial days. Up to now, that miracle of ours is still not fulfilled, but are we getting there? But now with this, let's have faith, let's have confidence that this government is going to deliver to us, because we want to see a foundation, and together we must be united in this spirit of ours to move our country forward. We cannot longer stay back. We need to move forward. We need to move with the times. We've been set back too many times, and we've lost a lot of glorious opportunities in which we could have, you know, made a big impact. We could have been where Botswana is today. Yeah, Botswana was nothing to us, but yeah, we today, you know, looking like a third-class citizen just next door to Botswana. So I said to the people, please, we are there, we want to be with you.
Uncle Dante, thank you very much for making an appearance on the Camnet Lunchtime Cafe.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for inviting me.
We have been talking to Dante Saunders, a political activist, and he was talking to us about the 2 years that the UPND has been in office. On that note, we come to the end of today's Lunchtime Cafe. Don't forget to join us again on Monday as we bring to you another exciting and educative program. On behalf of the entire production crew, have a blessed afternoon.